let me take you somewhere. And there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. And this is a word where English language is taught. The official language that everyone needs to learn. Set it right pronunciation and you use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, welcome to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness a treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Diction Avenue. My name is Abigail Anaba and I am the host on the show today. As usual, we are here to talk English. This is the program, and I dare say the #1 English learning program on television, which has run the longest. Here, all we do is learn how to speak right, and sound English. And continuing on this journey today, we are going to be talking silent letters. We started this topic, remember the month of September is the month of silent letters. And this week we are continuing our journey on the road of silent letters. And what are we going to learn today? We are going to learn the etymology of some words with silent letters. Remember last week we talked about 2 different ways in which words achieve, or certain sounds achieve silence in English. And we said that one of the ways is borrowing from Old English and the other is borrowing from the other languages that come into English. And with this in mind, we talked about etymology. And so today we're continuing that conversation. But as usual, before we start off the show, we are going to be asking our quiz question of the day. And what's the question of the day, you may ask? Well, it's going to come up in just a minute. And our quiz for the day has to do with etymology. And that's the question up on your screen right now. The word ghost has the letter H silent. But from what language was this word borrowed into English? Is it A, German? Is it B, Dutch? Is it C, Latin? Or is it D, Japanese? Well, send your answer to that question to the number 0805 584 9525. Remember, it's text message only. Do not forget to include your name and where you're texting us from, because that will help us to read out your answer when you do send it in. Yes, don't forget to add your name and where you're texting us from. And the question again is, from what language was the word ghost borrowed into English? Is it German, Dutch, Latin, or Japanese? That's the number on your screen. Please do text us. Do not forget to include your name and where you're texting us from. So we are going to move straight on into the show for today, and we are asking, what is the etymology of words with silent letters? Well, etymology is a big word. As we proceed, we'll talk about what that word means. But first, let's talk about silent letters. What exactly are silent letters? Silent letters are letters that occur in the spelling of a word, but are not said when you're pronouncing the word. That's a simple definition of silent letters. They occur in the spelling of a word, but they are not said when you're pronouncing the word. So silent letters are mute letters. They do not say anything, but they're right there when you're spelling the word. But if you have to say the word, they disappear. They just sit there and they say nothing. Well, while silent letters are important in spelling, not so important in speaking. And that's one of the reasons silent letters even crept into the English language to start with. Remember last week I did mention that spoken English is slower than written English. Written English is more rigid, and so spoken English easily metamorphoses, and so the way a word is said changes, but the way it's spelled is more rigid because that's written. Remember, when you write something, it means you're documenting it, so people look at it and they know that is how it is spelled. But the way it is spoken changes more easily, that's more flexible, and so the way certain words were said change over time while their written form do not change, and that is one thing responsible for silent letters. Well, the other thing is etymology. And so why do we have silent letters in words? The etymology of the word. And what does etymology mean? Etymology means the language or the origin of the word. So we're talking about the language from which the word is borrowed. Now, if you're using certain dictionaries, you find that the dictionary goes into etymology of words. For instance, if you're using a Webster's dictionary, after the definition and everything, it will give you the etymology of the word, which means it is telling you how that word made its way into the English language. And so if you trace how the word made its way into the English language, you'll discover why some letters are there in the spelling, but not in the pronunciation. Because some words are borrowed from other languages. And when these other languages have a silent letter, then when the spelling moves into English, it also has a silent letter, but it doesn't say that letter, of course, because it's silent. So what are some of these languages that silent letter words are borrowed from? Well, there are a number of them, and they include French, Spanish, Dutch, Italian, German, Latin, Japanese, Norwegian, Arabic, and even Indian. Well, that's a whole long list of languages, but then you also know that English words, a good number of English words, let me not say most, a good number of English words are borrowed from other languages. And so when they make their way into English, they come with their characteristics. And so when they come with those characteristics, especially in spelling, then the English pronunciation is applied to it, and so some letters just go silent, they just go mute. I remember last week I talked about the word night, and that the word is of German origin, I believe. Yes, and then when it came into English, before it came into English, the K was said, but then eventually the K was dropped. And so when you're talking about your knight in shining armor with a sword, then you don't say the beginning K. And I said another word now that has a silent letter, sword. So I hope you don't go around saying sword. No, the word is sword. The W in that word is silent. You could take this down as an assignment and find out what language the word sword borrows from, so that you may trace or find out something about the etymology of that word. And it will probably explain why the W in sword is silent, whereas the W in swear is not silent. It can be confusing sometimes, and so when you trace the etymology of the word, it gives you some clarity. It helps you to understand certain things that you probably wouldn't if you have not paid attention to the etymology of the word. So now we're going to look at examples of words with silent letters. We've talked about two words already. We talked about night K-N-I, G-H-T, and we said the K is silent, of course. And then we talked about sword, S-W-O-R-D. Again, the W in that word is silent. And I did mention that you don't just say because a letter is silent in this word, therefore it must be silent in another. That is where etymology plays a role, because if you know the language from which the word is borrowed, then it can assist you in spelling, because you would know that, okay, this is how it works in this language, and so this is how it should be spelled. So let's take just one example. Let's take the first example of a word with silent letter. And there you have the word C-Z-A-R. Yeah, some might be saying it's not Z, it's Z. Yeah, right, it's also Z. The Americans say Z, the British say Z. So you either go C-Z-A-R or you say C-Z-A-R. So the word C-Z-A-R pronounced za. The word C-Z-A-R is pronounced za. And you'd notice that the letter C in that word is silent. C-Z-A-R, za. The C is silent, so you do not go kaza. No, you don't, because the C is silent. Rather, you go za. And as has been shown there, the word is of Greek or Latin origin. If you trace the origin of the word, you can trace it to Greece or to Greek or to the Latin language. Yeah, it's evolved if you actually follow the etymology of that word. You might be thinking Russian, but it moved from Greek to Russian to Latin. From Greek and Latin to Russian. So right now we know it more as a word of Russian origin, but it goes all the way back to the Greek or Latin language before it became Russian, and then it was borrowed into the English language. So that's the word, it's pronounced za. You would notice another variant in the pronunciation of that word, which starts with a T. So some people go tsa, tsa, tsa. So tsa, it's correct. Za is also correct. So there are two different pronunciations to that word. But in both pronunciations, the letter C is silent. Remember that the letter C has two basic sounds in the English language. Letter C can either go S, that's a soft sound, or K, which is a hard sound. But none of the sounds are said in this word, because CZ simply impronounceable in English. So you just go za or you go sa, which is the second pronunciation. Well, we are going to take a break now, but before we take that break, I am going to go back and remind you of the quiz for the day. And what's the quiz for the day again? We are talking silent letters, and we have given you the word or the letter which is silent in the word ghost. The word ghost has the letter H silent, but from what language was this word borrowed into English? Is it German? Is it Dutch, Latin, or Japanese? Well, send your answer, and the number to send your answer to is the number 0805 584 9525. Again, 0805 584 9525. Send in your correct answer, A, B, C, or D, with your name and where you're sending in your answer from. Well, we'll be right back with more on Diction Avenue right after this time out. Don't go away.
Ecom.ng, 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 ecom.ng.
Your Speaking English website. powered by Institute of Certified Communicators. Visit www.ecom.ng and subscribe for your spoken English updates now. Your accent is your asset.
Welcome back. Yes, your accent is your asset. And as you saw in the advert there, you can be crowned the speech master. If you were in grade 3 to SS3, what do you need to do? Just visit ecom.ng, click on the Speech Masters National Competition and learn how you can be crowned the speech master. And what's more, you get to win a star prize of 50,000 naira just for speaking for 2 minutes. Yes, just go to ecom.ng and find out how. All right, we're proceeding with the program. Now, remember, if you're just joining us, well, you've missed half of the program, but we'll still have another half coming up. So what are we talking about today? We're talking silent letters. Those letters that occur in the spelling of a word, but just go mute when you're pronouncing the word. And we've talked about why some letters are silent in the English language. The basic reason being that the etymology, that's simply what it is. The etymology, where the word is coming from, where it is borrowed from, and how it was said in Old English as compared to how it is said now. So the etymology of the word influences whether the letter will be silent or not. And all you have to do about silent letters is just learn the way silent words with silent letters are said. Because sometimes there is just no rule to follow. You can say, oh, okay, the letter W is silent in this word, therefore it's going to be silent in the next word. No, you can't do that because silent letters choose from etymology where and how they should occur. Well, before the break, we did give out our question for today. Have you tried to send in an answer yet? Well, I do have a number of answers that have come in so far. Well, we'll look at those answers in a minute. But the question again is what? The letter G, the letter H is silent. The letter H, the word ghost, has the letter H silent. From what language was this word borrowed into English? Is it German, Dutch, Latin, or Japanese? What do you think? Well, send in your answer to the number 0805 584 9525. And just in a short while, you'll know whether your answer is correct or not. So we have been looking at different words with silent letters. The first word that we looked at was the word za. And I did say that the etymology of that word, or the language that the word za borrows from, is Greek or Latin. Now we're moving on to the next word, and that's the word on your screen about now, and that word is yacht. Yacht. The word is yacht. Okay, that's the word. Yacht is spelled Y-A-C-H-T. Yacht. You might be looking at that word and wondering, why is the CH silent? Well, as usual, we're going to say the same thing because of the language it borrows from. So the word is yacht. The CH is silent. And you would note that the A there has the sound A, not A. So you don't go yacht, you go yacht. Okay? So that's how the word is pronounced. Yacht. And it's Dutch or German in origin. Okay? We will move on to the next word. And the next word that we are looking at today has a Greek origin. And that's the word right there on display. The word is psyche. 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 So the P, the initial P in that word is silent. And this is one of those words where the final E is said, and you would understand why, because of its origin. You see, the origin of a word plays a crucial role in how the word is said. So usually you find that the final E in most English words are no longer said, even though they were said in the past. But these days we don't say them anymore. What they do is that they make the vowel sound long. And so if you decide that you're borrowing that rule and you see the word psyche and you decide to go psych, then you'd be wrong, because the word is not psych. The word is psyche. And of course, the initial P is silent, so you don't go psyche, not at all. So you go psyche and not psych. I know that what's the word now? In our day-to-day common speech, no, the word is not, in conversation, most people would say psych, I want to psych him up. But that's not the English pronunciation for the word. So when you find this word, you should know that the word is psyche and not psych. And again, the word is of Greek origin. Psyche. Psyche. That's how that word is pronounced. Now we'll move on to a fairly English simple word, because a lot of us would already know how this word is pronounced, but we may not know the origins of the word. So let's move on to the very next word. And the word we have there is daughter. Daughter. Of course, daughter is spelled D-A-U-G-H-T-R. The G-H in the word daughter is silent. And of course, you may know that, or may not, the word daughter is of German and Greek origin, right? So it's not an English word. It doesn't derive from English. It derives from German and Greek. And the word is daughter. The GH is silent. Of course, this is the AU in that word gives us one sound, which is O. So you don't go daughter. That's for beginning learners. You need to understand that A and U gives you the sound or, the GH is silent, and the TER, the ER, gives you the short sound U. So it's not daughter either, it's daughter. 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 That's how you pronounce the word with the GH silent. Right? Moving on. Okay. Moving on, I would just want to remind you that you can connect with us. If you have questions on the English language, you can always connect with us on Facebook at Ecom Nigeria, and on Twitter, it's at EcomNG. So connect with us, ask your questions, and we will be glad to provide you with answers, correct answers to whatever questions that you may have on the English language. And it's just about time for us to turn now to the phone lines and see what answers you have been sending in. Remember that the question I asked at the beginning of the show was, the word ghost has the letter H silent. From what language was this word borrowed into English? And the answers we have is it German? Is it Dutch? Is it Latin? Or is it Japanese? Well, let us see what answers you have been sending in. And this answer comes from Faith Paul. Faith Paul lives in Lekki, Jakande. And I'm sorry, Faith, but your answer is wrong. All right, I have a second answer here. This is Audu Luca from Ojo Military Cantonment Officers, Village Corps Members Lodge, Lagos. Thank you very much for sending in your answer, Audu Luca. And your answer is correct. Well done. Let me try the next person, and this is Samuel. Samuel Popola. I'm sorry, but your answer is wrong. This is Ngozi from Giwa. Ngozi's answer is correct. Well done, Ngozi. Let me try the next person. This is Sally Jeff. Sally Jeff sent in her answer from Sapele in Delta State. But it's a wrong answer. I'm sorry, Sally. Ugh. And this is Naji Chibukim from Ahmadiyya, who also sent in a wrong answer. All right, moving on. Let's see how many more answers we can take. This is Sophia Honorio Day from Delta State, who sent in a correct answer. Well done, Sophia. Well done. And this is Felicity from Okearo. Felicity is sent in a wrong answer. I'm sorry, Felicity. This is Michael Olaoshebikon from Ikeja with a wrong answer. This is Onoseme Favor from Abuja, who also sent in a wrong answer. Well, one thing that I expected a lot of people to do is to quickly go check where this is from. But I think a lot of people are guessing. Well, some people guessed right and some didn't. And let me see, this is Johnson David Amadia, who also sent in a wrong answer. And this is Miracle Ola from Badagry, also with a wrong answer. Well, I'm going to give out the answer in just a moment, but that'll be just after taking a review of all we have discussed today. We have been talking silent letters, and the question we asked at the beginning of the program was, what is the etymology of silent letters? And we said that silent letters derive from the languages from which they were borrowed. Because of the languages from which certain words are borrowed, the letters are silent. And so when they carry over into English, they carry over their characteristics. And so we have the incidence of silent letters in words. And we learned 4-5 words today with silent letters. And first word we took was czar. Czar is of Greek, Latin origin. Then the next word we took was yacht. Yacht is Dutch, German. Then psyche, which is Greek in origin, and daughter, which is German in origin. So those are 4 words with silent letters that we took today. And so we go back to our quiz for today. And what do you think the answer is? Well, if you had said Japanese, then no, you were wrong. The etymology of that word is not Japanese. Its origin is not Japanese. If you had said Latin, you would be wrong too. The word ghost is not from Latin, originally from Latin. If you had said Dutch, then you're also wrong. The word ghost is not originally from Dutch. The original language from which the word ghost is borrowed is German. And so that is the correct answer to the question. The word ghost is originally of German origin. And that is how we come to the end of Diction Avenue for today. I hope you enjoyed the show as we talk about silent letters. Next week is another date. Yes, you do have to keep a date with us next week, as we're going to continue our discussion on silent letters, and this time we'll be talking about everyday words with silent letters. You don't want to miss it. Until then, my name is Abigail Anaba. Don't forget, you can be a speech master. All you have to do is visit ecom.ng and find out how. Until I come on your way again next week, it's bye for now.
Let me take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is spoken so good, it's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. And this is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set it right pronunciation, and you use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, wake up to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English, is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness a treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new.